What's the deal, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jeremy Deal, and today I'll be teaching you how to use this, the Ace Pro 2, to make some amazing real estate videos and hopefully help move your properties faster. Remember, better imagery equals faster sales. Now, let's get into it. All right, you can use the process I'm going to teach you with any of these smaller action cams, but today I'm going to be using the Ace Pro 2 from Insta360 because that clean Leica glass and my favorite feature for doing the interior real estate videos is actually how well this performs in low light and how accurate those interior color replications are during those low light tests, and a host of accessories you can plug into it. If you're interested in my favorite accessories for this camera, you can check out above because all the accessories for the Ace Pro also work with the Ace Pro 2, including the cage you see on it right now. I love it when a company thinks ahead, makes it more user accessible for easy model upgrades. Either way, the fact that it has a wide range of shooting lens angles also means you can always shoot with the Ace Pro 2 in linear mode, which sacrifices a little bit of the width of the frame for proper verticals and horizontal lines. More simply speaking, none of that crazy fisheye effect that is very prevalent in these smaller action cams. Today's video is sponsored by WeGotEditors.com again, and the entire process I'm teaching you today is based on how to shoot specifically for their editing team. But more from them later on in the video when it's relevant to that topic. Also to be noted, Insta360 did send me out this camera for testing. They have no say-so over the video itself. They do not get to see it before it's posted, and if you've been here before, you know I'm still going to talk about the issues I face while using it on site. All right, now let's get into the gear I actually recommend other than the camera itself. Insta360 has its own studio software, but I personally find it very limited in what it can do. So if you're not going to just send them out to We Got Editors and you plan on editing these yourself, I do recommend downloading DaVinci Resolve to do any of that video editing that I'll be suggesting later on in this video. There's both a paid and a free version, and everything I talk about in this tutorial can be used in the free version except the denoising feature. I find it very useful personally, but don't feel obligated to do so yourself. From here, you have a few different options on how you can control your camera. You can go that completely free route and just handhold it, my least favorite option. Next up, you can add a little weight to the bottom by way of like a monopod or selfie stick or bottom of the tripod, much more stable than the previous method, but still not the optimal way in my opinion. The last method I recommend, and the one I recommend the most, and most of the shots you see will be me using it this way, throw it on a gimbal. I put it on the Flow G at first, but it would stall out when trying to do any up and down tilting. The motors would just give out. I don't know. So I moved up to the Zhiyun Smooth 5i, and even though those motors could support the weight during those tilting maneuvers, but the way I had to mount the camera on the gimbal meant I kept having the back hub of the gimbal showing up in the in shot. So that gimbal, unfortunately, was out too. I thought about going to get something mint for these smaller cameras, but I decided instead to try setting it up on my Zhiyun Crane 4E since I just got it, and to my surprise, well, it worked perfectly. A lot of times those larger gimbals, they have a minimum weight requirement to operate smoothly, but this one went off without a hitch with the extra cage and stuff. So it's the gimbal I'll use for the remainder of this tutorial when I'm using one. With those trials and tribulations out of the way, let's get down to the settings for the best video output. Just keep in mind there's a scale of how much work you have to do versus how good your final product will be. But if you want to follow my steps exactly, you'll be doing the most amount of work, but in turn, you'll also be getting the absolute best output. I had this entire spiel planned about iLog and how excited I am for it. And don't get me wrong, when I have to match it to my Sony footage, it is much easier, even though there's no iLog conversion in Color Space Transform and DaVinci. Either way, I digress. That doesn't really matter. I did a lot of testing, especially in low light. And what I found is that honestly, it's just simpler and less time consuming to not shoot an iLog unless you have to match footage. If you're wanting to do the least amount of work afterwards, then I recommend these settings. Go to pure video mode, change the settings to 4K, 30 frames a second, and make sure to click on the Pure Video Plus icon on the left. Swipe to the right. Leave your sharpening at medium. Change your metering mode from portrait to matrix metering mode. Last thing is to change your color profile to Leica Natural, and you are ready to go. It's quick and easy, and you'll get a really good final product. But if you're in it for the long haul and you want your clips to freaking shine, let's get into the nitty gritty. Number one, this pure video mode does not allow for shooting in 60 frames a second. If you want to use the Pure Shot Plus option, that really helps reduce noise. If you want to shoot in log mode, just keep in mind these two things. The goal is to keep the ISO under 100. further you stray from that number, the more grainy your footage will come, and that is what you will adjust to make your shots bright enough. Number 2 is always use your shutter speed. Well, it's got to double your frame rate. If you're shooting at 60 frames a second, then you need your shutter speed to be 120. And if you're shooting at 30 frames a second, you need it to be at 60, so on and so forth. If you forget this rule and go under, it could ruin all the footage you work so hard to create with a bunch of unpleasant motion blur artifacting. So please just make sure you don't break that one. From this point, it's up to you. If you decide, or if you plan on shooting a more traditional horizontal video or something for social media in vertical mode. One thing I do like about the H Pro 2 is the freeform video mode, which allows you to record in the full sensor size, which is more like a 4:3 ratio. And that allows for an easier time cropping both horizontal and vertical frames out of the same clip. I personally pace my horizontal and vertical videos completely different, so this feature does not really help me very much, but if you don't know what you're shooting for, you can always try this model or mode. But keep in mind that if you choose this mode, a lot of the extras I've talked about in this video previously might not be available in that freeform mode. If you're planning to shoot a horizontal video, you should focus more on slow and smooth motions. I personally use a lot of dolly in and dolly out shots and trucking left to right from behind objects, because it gives you a little bit of that slow frame while also giving you a little extra in the dynamics department. I also really enjoy using these long swing shots because it gives the viewer a better layout of the house without having a sharp cut between each and every scene. Keeping your plane extremely level, also important here. This is why I prefer the gimbal to every other method, because it'll hold that level for you. Don't get me wrong, you can obviously tilt up and tilt down or left and right during shots. But for the majority of the video clips, you really want to make sure your horizontals and your vertical lines, I did that backwards, are straight and level without feeling like the viewer is looking up into a room. Like, you don't want them looking up into the dining room or down into the dining room, unless, of course, that specific goal is that shot, like showcasing a banister from the lower floor, or maybe looking over that banister into the room below. When it comes to vertical video, you speed things up a bit with less time between those cuts, but watch out because you can definitely go overboard here. You don't want your end product to be spastic or off-putting to the viewer. Pacing is still extremely important. You just want that pacing to be a little faster. A minute is the max you want to make them, but realistically, cutting out as much as possible and giving the viewer a solid 30 seconds of pure gold, well, that'll serve you and your clients better for reach. I use a lot more of those swinging shots or shots moving from one space to another because of that said faster pacing. Like with everything else, I tend to shoot way more than I need and never feel like you should use every shot that you take. Be extremely selective when picking your shots. You never want to be searching for shots to put in place. You actually want to be narrowing down shots and removing the ones that you like. That's how you know you're getting the best ones, when you're taking away things that you like. If you are as obsessive as I am, you can run everything through DaVinci Resolve to clean up those colors and match up with a song. Then I export all those interior files together, all the exterior files in another one, package up, and send it off to today's video sponsor, We Got Editors. Not only are they today's sponsor, but the teams powering their services are the same ones I use for my company's deliveries. So I know they're reliable. The exact style of image and video done on the site were performed by their team. So if you like what you see in the examples, that's exactly what your deliveries will look like. They have different editing teams that all provide different looks, and all of their quality and reliability of delivery have been put through my personal test through my shooting team. I don't make any money from the affiliate sales or the link you can find down in the description below, but I do get paid from them to be a headhunter of creators, just to be on the up and up about that. Are they the cheapest team you'll find on the web? No, they're not. But they pay their creators above industry standard rates, and that matters a lot to me personally because I do the same. If you're an editor or writer looking for a company that respects the work you do and the price you want to get paid for it, make sure to send them an email to the one up on the screen now. If you're looking for a reliable editing team who cares more about their editors' quality of life than sucking every penny from the bottom dollar, make sure to check them out in the link down below. Let me know also in the comments down below if there's anything I did not talk about or you need answers about. And make sure to do the like and subscribe thing if you enjoyed the information and, of course, the way I just presented it to you. Consider using some of the affiliate links below if you want to support the channel another way, and I will catch you next time. Yeah. I'm gonna grab this. We'll catch you next time.